So today we're doing a student Q&A for UNC students, whether you're accepted in the fall or you're looking to apply. A bunch of people asked questions about UNC, and I've gotten a bunch of UNC students together to help me out with this video to answer some of these questions. I've been working on this video for like 2 months because I asked the questions, I got all the questions together, and then somehow I lost them. They got deleted. People canceled on me to answer questions, had to find new people. We lost some of the video files for some of those people, but we're finally going to get to it. So before we even get into it, let me just go ahead and introduce all the other students that are helping me out with this Q&A.
Hello everyone, my name is Takalpati. I'm a business and comp sci major at UNC. I'm part of the class of 2023.
Hi, my name is Kayla Dang. I am a rising junior and I'm an HDFS major.
Hi, I'm Ethan Boyd. I'm a class of 2023 and I'm majoring in media and journalism and I'm minoring in French.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Villanueva and I'm a freshman at UNC. I'm a neuroscience major, and so that comes with a chemistry minor automatically, and I'm also considering a minor in Spanish. I've really grown to love UNC, so I'm excited to share what I've learned with you from the past year.
So let's go ahead and jump into some of those questions that you ask about UNC. First question, what made you pick UNC over other schools you applied to?
It's because I only got into one other school and UNC had a much better reputation than the other school.
And the reason I picked UNC, even though I got some great offers other places, I got full rides at other schools, what I really liked about UNC is just the system. I'm really big on business, so they have a great business school. But also I really felt like they just believed in me because they gave me basically a full ride. I get to go to UNC with absolutely no cost whatsoever. And also I got into the honors program at UNC, which is a very rare, so I was very grateful for that. But also I was an assured admit into the business school, which means that for lots of these undergraduate business schools, you have to apply to get into them. So before that, you're just pre-business. But with an assured admit, whether that's in the business school or the School of Media and Journalism, or I think even the pharmacy school has it, basically what an assured admit means is that you get automatic acceptance into that school. It was just like so much that UNC offered me, that entire big package, along with it just being the school I grew up knowing that I just really liked. Like, I was always a fan of Tar Heel basketball and everything, and UNC was just obviously the best fit for me, and I'm really glad that I picked it.
So for me, I think during the beginning of the college application process, I wanted to leave the state like as much as possible. I thought I just wanted to leave. I think over time I realized that the value that I get at UNC over going out of state and spending like $60K, at least for undergrad, versus like spending $20K at UNC and having just as many resources, if not better, because UNC is like the top public school. So I was like, okay, I'll stay, and it's been a great experience so far. And so like for me, it was just the value that I get over the amount of money that I pay. And also like the business school. So I think my biggest interests were business and comp sci, business more than anything else. And Keenan-Flagler is probably one of the best undergrad educations you can get.
I picked a lot of out-of-state schools, and just the combination of price and culture I just loved. Once I was on UNC's campus, I loved the look, I loved being there.
For me, I was actually debating between UNC and Duke almost down to the final day. Even though both schools have completely different vibes, I could genuinely see myself at either of them, and they have good communities. So, but I knew for UNC, one of the main things that they do is boast that you're getting an Ivy League education, but at a much better cost. And I couldn't in good conscience go to a school like Duke because it's about 4 times the cost for when UNC does have a really good education. So I just knew that, and since Chapel Hill is a school that's objectively in the top tier of schools in the world at providing a good education, like it's kind of hard to pass up that opportunity.
And the next question is the food good, and where do you recommend to eat? So the food can definitely vary, we'll say that the least. There's some great food sometimes, and then there's some not so good food. And so like most of that bad food you're gonna get is usually going to come from the dining halls. Now, the dining hall food is okay, it's pretty good. I like it's all you can eat, and they have a wide variety of stuff. But at the end of the day, really the problem with the dining hall, like it's still better than stuff you'd get in high school and everything, but really you just get tired of it because lots of the times they just give the same stuff every single day. You will hate breakfast in the dining hall to a certain point because your options every single day is eggs, bacon, sausage, and tater tots, and that's basically all you get. Sometimes you get biscuits and gravy, sometimes you can get a waffle, but for the most part that's what you eat every single day, and it just really gets really tiring that you don't have more options for breakfast. Breakfast is the least variety, so it's definitely going to get very old the fastest, but like other places, especially during dinner, you're gonna have a lot more variety, and I never really got tired of dinner for the most part. It was really good. But where would you recommend to eat? I mean, if we're talking about if you're just on a dining plan, I would probably say I prefer Lenore over Chase. I mean, Chase is more convenient because it's closer to my dorm, but I like the atmosphere of Lenore a lot more, especially during breakfast. They have a great atmosphere with really good music and everything. I like to go sit by a window and look out at the university just starting its day, and I really like that. Outside of that, I like the Main Street, so you've got a lot of good Mediterranean, Mexican bowls, Chick-fil-A, all that is there, so that's really good. But outside of just what UNC offers on campus, I would recommend some restaurants on Franklin Street. So my personal favorite restaurant on Franklin Street right now is Four Corners. I really like getting their fish and chips. Personally, I think their food is a lot better than what is offered at other places on Franklin Street. Like people always talk about Top of the Hill, but honestly, the food's not as good as it is at Four Corners. You're gonna have a better atmosphere at Top of the Hill, but personally, I like the food a lot better at Four Corners.
Food's alright. I think there's always stuff you can eat every night that's pretty good. You just gotta figure out what you like and match it up with the dining hall. What do I recommend? Cosmic, really cheap, good food. Sup Dogs, a classic. Chipotle, love it. Yopo, amazing ice cream or frozen yogurt.
I think the food overall, especially in the dining hall, is pretty good. And on Franklin Street, I would recommend going to Pizza Press and Spicy 9.
Franklin Street has some great places I like. Sushi at the Park, not Sushi at the Park, Spicy 9. That's like my favorite restaurant on Franklin.
What is your favorite spot on campus?
It's got to be the Quad, late afternoon, around 4-ish, 5-ish, especially in the fall. And then I gotta say Hooker. I love being on Hooker. Just the sun and all the buildings around you. It's really pretty.
And personally, I feel like I hang out a lot in the undergraduate library and also Davis Library. I see myself hanging out in the libraries a lot. I'm trying to think. I mean, if I'm on South Campus, I'm usually just in my dorm. So usually I get like most of my work done and just sit and hang out in either the libraries or just in my dorm.
Well, fave study spots would probably have to be the study lounge area in Keenan Flagler and also Cafe McCall. Both of those are like great places. I'm not gonna lie though, like usually like me and some others stay at the business school like study lounge until like 3-4 a.m. and the walk back to the dorms is like pretty creepy, so like it's pretty uncomfortable. So yeah, you should probably go with someone else if you want to like take that walk back. But you'll have to like go through that walk anyway, from the library back to dorms. So that's like the only issue with it. Other than that, my other favorite spots would be the Quad. If it's a nice day, just sitting down on the grass or next to a tree is pretty amazing feeling.
I really like the basement of the Union. I loved studying in there and hanging out down there. But I also love the upper floors of the Union because there are huge windows that are great to look out of while studying. But for libraries, I like Davis Library the most. 8th floor is pretty cool.
The next question is, what is the hardest class you have taken at UNC? So I'd definitely say my hardest class was Econ 101H. Now that's an honors economics class, and you might say, well, that's just an intro class, that should be pretty easy. Here's the thing, you need to go on the Rate My Professor website, and you really need to look at those ratings and really take them seriously, because I have one of the worst, lowest rated teachers at all of Chapel Hill, and I still thought, you know, this isn't going to be too hard. I'm going to go in here and I'm still going to do good in this class. And it took all I could to barely get a good grade in that class. And most people in that class actually failed because he was actually so harsh with all of his grading, and his tests were so bad. And he taught us stuff that's like not even in the subject. Like he taught us higher level economics. He would get off on all kinds of tangents and everything, and he even made us do presentations that didn't count as a grade but were still required for some reason. But it's just a very awful course, and honestly, having that as one of my first ever classes in my first semester, it kind of scared me off from like taking like really hard honors classes and everything. I was worried, like, is all honors classes like this supposed to be this hard? But then I took a few more after that, and actually it was definitely just the teacher.
I think the hardest class I've taken at UNC was definitely ENIC 201. I'm just not a really strong science person, so it was pretty hard for me.
That's a tough one. I'd probably say Mejo 121. It was a lot of hands-on stuff. You had to learn a lot of programs very quickly. It really taught you to be a journalist very quickly, like the modern journalist, taking videos, all that. And so that was kind of difficult, but I enjoyed it.
So Econ 410 honors was pretty hard. I had to like put in a lot of effort for that class. The comp sci classes are generally like pretty hard at UNC. Comp 283, which is discrete math, was very tough. That class, I would say that was probably the hardest class. And physics 118. Dude, don't take physics 118 at UNC. Please don't. Just take it at like state, or like take it online or somewhere. Just don't take it at UNC.
Next question is, what is your favorite class you have taken at UNC? This one's actually a lot tougher than picking your hardest class, because there's actually a lot of really good classes at UNC. And I would actually say it was probably Busy 188. That's a class just for assured admits for first semester, and then there's a second semester one called Busy 189. That one a lot harder, not as good as 188. And with 188 we did so much. We talked about different factors of leadership. We talked about, like what we want to do in our careers, planned our futures out, and exactly like what we really want out of our lives. It was very focused on actually pinpointing what we want to do in business. And then at the very end of the semester, what was really fun is we all got put in groups together, and we actually had to start businesses, create businesses, and see who could be the most successful in their business. So we started a sticker company, and we were actually one of the most profitable businesses out of all the groups in the class. And it was just like a really fun experience, and I really enjoy teacher for that. She was just amazing with just like being there for every single student in the class. She really seemed like she cared a lot, and she definitely had my respect.
My favorite class by far was Education 614 with Sarah Bassell, and it was innovative and engaging teaching, and it was my favorite because it really changes the way you think about education as well as schooling. It really just opens your mind and makes you think more creatively. It
was actually a first-year seminar. It was Poly 89, the Obama years, taught by Professor Dr. Christopher, can't think of his last name. Great class. Would definitely recommend looking into it. I don't know who teaches it, but Poly 89, who will teach it next semester, but Poly 89 is the teacher.
My favorite one would have to be Busy 206, which is a South Africa course. So in that class, about like 25 kids, we learn about South Africa, and then we actually plan to go to South Africa over spring break. This happens during your spring semester. That class was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go to South Africa because of COVID, but highly recommend. You can only take it if you're in Assured Admit, but if you're in Assured Admit, take that class for sure.
Someone asked, in what way are UNC 101 courses harder than AP and IB classes?
I think that UNC 101 classes are harder than AP classes or IB classes because it's a lot of self-studying and work that needs to be done on your own. To some degree, this was the case for AP classes, but not to the same extent, I guess. There also really isn't as many direct interactions with your professors because they're typically like bigger classes. Like, I think my biggest is like around 400 or something, which is like to be expected. But if you do have questions or something, you mainly go to like recitations or stuff with like TAs. So just you have to keep that in mind. And if there's anything you do want to happen, you have to make it happen for yourself because no one's going to hold your hand through the process and give curves for you or change anything for you typically.
I'll be honest, UNC 101 courses, like with any school, classes are like 90% dependent on the professors that you have by far. So you can have econ or you can have any 101 course with one of the harder teachers or tougher teachers, and it'll be a struggle to get through. Or you can have it with one of the like chill teachers or like a really good teacher, and it won't be like easy, but it'll feel like the effort you put in, you get that effort back out. So I wouldn't say they're necessarily harder than AP IB courses. If you had a terrible AP teacher, it's like the same feeling. Like it can be terrible. So a lot of it is dependent on the professor, and for a good amount of them, if you put in the effort, if you actually like do practice problems, and put in an effort, then you'll get that effort back out of it. So it's not something too much to worry about.
101 courses, they're just more, you don't have as much interaction with the teacher. I know in APs I used to have full interactions with the teachers, and you were on a first name basis. You could talk to them about anything. A lot of times with 101 courses, it's a huge lecture hall. Obviously I don't know what's going to happen with coronavirus and all, but it's a huge lecture hall. But it's just, you got to stay on top of your work. I think that's the hardest part, is just staying on top of your work when you have so much stuff you want to do.
And my simple answer to that is they're not. I really think if you have the right teacher in an AP class, then an AP class should be much harder. But in my instance, I did have a really bad teacher as a 101 class, which made it really hard. So I think it really comes down to just the teacher and what the subject is about and how good you are at that subject. But overall, I would say the 101 courses are actually easier than the IB and AP courses. Still around the same amount of work, but overall just not as difficult. What dorms would you recommend for freshmen?
I stayed in Horton. Horton was my best decision. It allowed me to meet some really talented people, but also people who like to throw down. And I loved the mix people that I had at Horton. So I would highly recommend Horton for anyone. In terms of the other dorms, I thought Ehringhaus was pretty great as well. Ehringhaus is at a perfect location where you're close to the dining hall and subway and the gym, and you also have some great people there. It's not huge like Hojo. It's 6 floors, I think, but it's still a perfect middle ground. So Ehringhaus is probably my other recommendation.
Now, I really think this just depends on, who you are, what you want. If you just want a smaller suite, just 4 people instead of 8, and you want a bigger overall room, and you don't really have a problem with cleaning your own bathroom or anything, I would recommend Horton and Corey. But maybe you want to give up some of that room size, have a smaller room, but have a bigger suite size. So you have 8 people in a suite on one hallway, 4 different rooms, and you all share one single bathroom, but that bathroom is actually cleaned by housing services instead of you having to clean it yourself. In that case, you would want places like Hinton James, Ehringhaus, Craig, all those places. And if you really care about Greek life a lot, you want to be way up on North Campus where all that is, and you don't really care about the noise of your dorm, then I would say Granville is your best option.
I stayed in Craig North and Craig. I switched halfway through the year. Craig North is nice. You're inside. It's more of the hall style, like the 4-person suites. I really enjoyed that. But I think I like Craig the most. I recommend getting one with the full 8-person suite because you interact with people more, and it's kind of fun hanging out with them after classes and stuff and on the weekends and just doing stuff when you're bored. Besides that, I'm going to live in Winston next year, and that's a dope dorm because you're in the middle of everything. So I'd recommend Winston, and I've heard good things about Hojo and E-House. You just gotta fit your vibe, I think.
When it comes to dorms, if you plan on rushing, Granville is probably a good community for you, but if you're into a different scene, I would definitely recommend living on South Campus and going into an 8-person suite, either Hinton James, Craig, or Ehringhaus. I lived in Ehringhaus my freshman year. It's also called E-House, and it was definitely my first choice going in, and I got super lucky to get in, and it didn't disappoint me at all. You really don't have as many problems sharing a bathroom as you might think with 7 other people. You just have to make sure you know in advance that who you're gonna live with, that they're good people. No matter where you live, just make sure you know who's gonna be in your suite or in your dorm. I personally think E-House is the most ideal because it's a little bit closer to classes and also to Chase Dining Hall than some of the other dorms. But if you can't get into E-House, Hinton James, or Hojo, it's a little bit further away, but there's a good community there, and also the package center is there if you're interested. It's a little bit less of a walk. One thing about this style of dorm that you'll see is that there really isn't a community outside of your suite, so you don't really talk to a bunch of other people in your hall. So if you're looking for that kind of college experience, then you could try hall style living, but I personally like the suites.
Do you like the business school? Yes, I love the business school. Really enjoyed all my classes I've taken there. They're very helpful, and I like that there's a cafeteria right there. I can just go downstairs and go to that. There's everything you need. There's a little study area that I've started using more and more on the bottom floor that's really great. There's a gym there I want to start using a bit more. But overall, it's one of the best business schools you're going to have in the country. So, if you're coming to UNC for business, then you have probably the best public business school in the entire United States at your arsenal.
So yes, obviously business school was probably the biggest reason I came to UNC. And it's been everything that I wanted so far. It has all the resources that I would like. It has the people that have made me challenge my original maybe views and perspectives on what I want to be towards the future. They made me challenge that. I've been able to see people with talents ranging such a vast array of areas and fields. So all of this has been exactly what I've wanted, and the business school has allowed me to interact with all of that.
So I think this video is going to be really, really long, so we're going to go ahead and stop at questions right there. But I want to thank everyone who was a part of this video. It's really helpful to have a bunch of people's different insights on these questions that were being asked, so you can get a lot of answers. So if you're interested in UNC, you go to UNC, anything about UNC, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the like button, check out all the videos, because this channel is all about just college life right now. And I'll see you next time.